Hey everybody, I'm Theo Fleury, and today I'm here with JosephBourgault, and I am happy and proud to announce that I am joining Joseph's campaign for leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada, and I thought we'd sit down and...
Thank you, Theo.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's my pleasure. You know, I thought we'd have a sit down and have a little follow-up conversation from the first one we had, and you know, the first thing I'd like to say is, you know, how's it going out there? Like, how are the people, you know, resonating with your message?
Well, you know, as you know, we've spoken about it off camera here, and I'm just going out and telling the truth as I see it. And the events that I've been doing, you know, it's the applause, I guess, is a sign. After I'm speaking these issues, I'm getting a lot of applause. So I think at least the freedom-fighting Canadians really love the message, because it's all about freedom and standing up for truth. So I'm getting a lot of positive response. Although you know, I would like to see a little more response on the fundraising. Right. In order to stay in the race, we'll have to see Canadians stepping up.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, there's obviously one guy in the race who is drawing some enormous crowds. And, you know, the way I see Pierre Poilievre is I see him as a globalist. I see him as the chosen one by Klaus Schwab and his, you know, gang of psychopaths. And you know, it's amazing to me how these career politicians, because Pierre's never really accomplished anything in his life other than being a career politician.
Right.
And in this landscape of where we're at right now, we all know that career politicians right across the board all over the world are corrupt, right?
Yeah.
And the simple fact that, you know, that I saw this yesterday, I don't know if it's the truth or not, but Pierre's net worth as a career politician is $9 million. So,
wow,
how is that possible? And how is that allowed in a free and democratic society? Because as politicians, you work for me. I don't work for you.
Right.
Right?
Right, exactly.
And that seems to have been flipped.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, where these guys think that they're untouchable.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, it kind of blows you away to, you know, a young guy, he's a professional politician, got out of university, went straight into politics. How did he accumulate $9 million in net worth? Well, we know how that happens, right? They're being bought.
Right.
They're being paid for. And so, I mean, you know, we're seeing evidence, like I think Julie Pagnas has published on Beyond the Narratives, that there are linkages there to Pierre to the World Economic Forum.
Yep.
And we know some of his advisors, John Baird, are members of the World Economic Forum. So I'm very concerned about that as well. Like, you know, so if I were elected to lead the Conservative Party, I would be asking anybody that's going to be in actually all members, you can't serve two masters. You're either going to serve the Canadian people, you cannot have affiliation with the World Economic Forum, the UN, or the World Health Organization in a direct way. There can be no affiliation. I have no affiliation to the World Economic Forum. I have zero interest. The money I have, I earned it. Yes. Over a 50-plus year career. And so, you know, I would be there to serve the Canadian people. And I think the tax plan that I talk about, Pierre and no other Conservative Party member, if they're just going to repeat what they have been doing over the last 30-some-odd years, or 40 or even 50 years, I think the Conservative Party needs the ideas that I've developed over a 40-year period, in particular the tax plan that I have, that is there to serve the Canadian people, to help Canadians climb out of poverty, The $12,000, the basic deduction was fine in 1960 or when that was the true poverty line. Today it's about $50,000 from my budgets that I've done across the country, and so I want to, over a 4-year period, I would want to raise that basic deduction for every Canadian to $50,000 so that all Canadians can afford to live above the real poverty line. And I don't see any other candidate having those types of ideas, and that's just one of many.
Yeah. Well, what's the definition of insanity?
Yeah,
doing the same thing
over and over again. Exactly.
Result, right? And you know, there's no doubt that we are living in an insane world. Run by, the what's that saying? The insane are running the asylum.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. So, as do you honestly believe that? I have this belief that this is probably the last moments of democracy in Canada where I would say that this leadership race is probably the last opportunity that Canadians are going to have an opportunity to vote forever. Do you believe that?
It's entirely possible if enough Canadians do not stand up for our God-given rights and freedoms, stand up for the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And I don't see any other candidates that are going to do that like I will. I don't see other candidates having the moral character with a proven track record of moral character. I don't see that in the current crop of candidates. So I guess my hope and prayer is that enough Canadians will stand up and support me to get into the race, because I think if people get to hear me, if I can get past April 29th, if people get to hear me, I think that they will see that.
So how are you making out on CBC, CTV, and Global? You done any interviews with those good people yet?
One CTV reporter came in PA, and she seemed to be a white hat type reporter, and came in and took that speaking event down. But the CBC, I have not heard anything from the CBC, but they may have heard what I've been saying about them, the Center for Bullshit Control, right?
Exactly.
And my plans to privatize the CBC, to give you and every other Canadian a share of the CBC so that it can be run in a way that it should be run as a corporate organization run on integrity and pursuit of truth. It's a news agency, so its mandate is to pursue the truth, to get the truth out to Canadians. And so I doubt that the CBC would want this message to get out that I want to privatize them.
So a candidate for leadership of the Canadian Conservative Party of Canada hasn't been interviewed by CBC, which is a tax-funded group.
Yes. Is there something wrong with that, eh?
Yeah. There's something really wrong with it. And if you think about that right there, then there is no truth coming out. There's no truth. It's a straight propagandist, media outlet, And I'm even seeing this morning that Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter, and the left is absolutely going nuts online, right?
Yeah.
And so how are we going to overcome, this wokeism agenda, right? Because that's the real insanity in all this.
Yeah.
Is wokeism.
Yeah.
Right? And two guys who grew up in Saskatchewan, there was no such thing as wokeism.
Right.
There was hard work.
Yeah.
It was love of community. It was caring. It was going to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
All those things. And so what is your idea of getting back to those great Canadian morals and what we've become so respected for in the world, because Trudeau has taken those incredible morals and turned them into woke, insanity and craziness, right?
Yeah.
So what's your idea about getting back to those true Canadian values where we're looked at as, a force in the world?
Well, as you know, Theo, everything rises or falls on leadership. The companies that I've been a part of, I was blessed to have two parents that were honest, always honest. Honesty and integrity builds trust. No matter what's going on, what I'm always going to do, and people are hearing blunt talk from me wherever I go because I'm going to tell the truth as I see it. That doesn't mean that I necessarily always know the truth, but if I'm wrong on something, I'm going to listen to what the other person has to say. And if they're closer to the truth than I am, I'm going to change my mind on it. So I would say honesty and integrity in the leadership of the country, and that's where folks like yourself and myself and others like Derek Sloan, we have to stand up and speak the truth fearlessly to Canadians. We've developed the ideas. I believe I have the ideas to get the country back on the right track in alignment with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, in alignment with the preamble on the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, whereas Canada was founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. So I'm speaking of God, not that I have a better connection with Him than you or anybody else, but I believe in God, and it's essential if we're going to get our country back on the right track. God must be recognized in our government, if you will, in our charter.
Right.
And so to me, it's essential that we have principled, honest, truth-seeking, principled leadership in this country. And I believe that's the way we're going to get the country back on the right track. To a point that you made earlier about this may be the last chance. I think I put 100% of my faith, trust, and confidence in God to guide us, to help. I say this in the O Canada, God help us. Yeah. To keep our land glorious and free. And so I'm asking Canadians to do that, to, through our prayers and doing our best to always be honest, always pursue the truth, always set the goal of truth to solve problems, to get to the facts and to the truth of the matter, and then select candidates that are running, that have a track record of honesty and integrity, and that have accomplished something in their lives, that have the proven leadership skills to get our country back on the right track. It's up to Canadians. If Canadians have a choice, we can either create heaven on earth here or hell on earth. Right now, we've done a pretty good job of creating hell on earth, and I think it's because Canadians have not. You've been standing up very vocally, Theo, and I appreciate that about you. And I think I'm asking all Canadians, get off your hands and stand up for our country. Ask not. John F. Kennedy had said this: ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's time for us Canadians, if you want your country and your children and grandchildren to inherit the country that we inherited, it's time for us to get off our hands and to stand up. And I believe I'm one of those candidates that's doing everything in my power to stand up for truth and to stand up for this country. And so, but I need your help. I cannot do it on my own.
Well, I love that, that assertion, that anger, right? And anger is a good thing, especially now, right? And I really believe that there's not enough people in our country who, are expressing that frustration, that anger, that betrayal of trust, all of those things. And so I think that's really important moving forward, that you're allowed to express that anger, right? And,
it's basically a righteous outrage that, where are the true Canadians? The truckers showed us how to do it.
Absolutely.
They got off their butts and they sacrificed everything to go to Ottawa to stand up for our God-given rights and freedoms, to get rid of the mandates. But, there's too many Canadians that are not standing up. And I'm not saying this in a judgmental way. I'm pleading with them. I'm pleading with Canadians. Please stand up for our country. Do everything you can to stand up for our country. Speak out. And those of us who are speaking out, we require your support. I cannot carry on past April 29th without the support of Canadians.
Yeah, 100%. So as we were talking before this interview, we need how many more signatures?
Well, right now we're about at the 350 signatures. We require a minimum of another 150 signatures by April the 26th or 27th. That has to be submitted by April 29th. So those would have to be active Conservative Party members that would be willing to sign a nomination petition to nominate me. And they can get those nomination petitions at www.JosephBourgault.ca. At the upper toolbar on the far right under support, they can go right there and print off a nomination petition and sign it, scan it, and send it in to my email address there, info@JosephBourgault.ca. And so that takes care of the nomination petition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the fundraising. I figured it out. We need 134 people to donate to Joseph's campaign of $1,675. So I know it's a big ask for some people, but I really believe that you're the candidate that we need on that debate stage.
Thank you, Theo.
Because Poilievre and Charest and all those guys, they need to be exposed for their corruption and what they've been doing. It just blows my mind when I see, and the funny thing is that Poilievre and Charest are not being attacked by the mainstream media. What does that say to you when the mainstream media, who is all about the coalition of the Liberals and the NDP, Pierre's not being attacked at all? So what does that tell you?
Well, we know that the mainstream media is being controlled, right? And so, to your idea of the Canadian independent news media, that's what we need. We need Canadian entrepreneurs to stand up and create the news media outlets to get honest, truth-seeking, fact-reporting media in the country, both in newsprint but also in social media. It's great to hear that Elon Musk seems to have a moral compass that's trying to purchase Twitter.
Yeah.
It's up to the Conservatives, honest, truth-seeking Conservatives, to get our message out, to get the truth out to Canadians, so Canadians can make intelligent, informed decisions. So I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. And go to JosephBourgault.ca, sign the letter, and please donate to our campaign. We have some events coming up. We'll be in Airdrie on the 21st. We'll be in Lloydminster on the 28th, and I look forward to sharing the stage with you and being a part of your political campaigin. This is my first dipping my toe into the water, but I've always been a freedom-loving Canadian. I've represented my country 10 times. I put the maple leaf on my chest and represented my country with the same values that I grew up with, right?
Yeah.
And
made in Canada, right? Made in Canada.
Exactly.
Made in Canada.
Yeah. A couple of French guys here heading out onto the road. We look forward to seeing you in those venues, and stay close to JosephBourgault.ca to find out where we're going to be, and we look forward to meeting all of you and sharing thoughts and ideas, and maybe a little bit of anger too will go in there, eh, Joe?
A little bit of righteous outrage.
Yeah. So thanks again. Take care, everybody, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you, and God bless.